All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about speaking as a business strategy because it's something I put into place on my business plan at least a year ago, and I've been working towards that. So, one of the things some of you have heard me talk about, I took Speak Up to Level Up with Heather Sager. She's a speaking coach, and I'd heard about her through Ann Emery. Elizabeth Grimm is going through that program now, and I found it really, really helpful. So some of the things that we're going to talk about, I've learned from Heather. Some of the things I've just picked up along the way in my own research. But choosing to speak as a business strategy was definitely just that. So let's talk about why speak. If I can get my screen to move. All right. So why should you even talk? All of you probably have had that experience, maybe as a freshman in college, probably, maybe as a sophomore, where you had to take the dreaded speech class. You remember that? And you had to do the long speech and the impromptu speech and all the different kinds of speeches. Everybody hated that class, right? I think it's actually the number one fear, probably next to clowns, um, that people have. So there's that. But speaking when you are a business owner or you're trying to be a business owner is really, really important. So why speak? First of all, you want to establish yourself as an authority in whatever space you're in. So some of you have very specific niches that you're trying to address, or maybe you have specific skills you're trying to market yourself in, like several of you have mentioned, like data visualization today, that kind of thing. So you want to establish yourself as an authority in that genre, whatever it is. Whoop. Moved too far. All right, then you want to meet potential customers, and you're going to do that when you go to, of course, conferences and meetings and all those kinds of things. And some of us are waiting for our notices from AEA. Like, come on, guys, it's getting close. We need to know. Now, you may think, oh, I'm not going to really meet potential business customers at AEA, but you might be surprised. There are a lot of program people, but there's other conferences that you might go to where you might meet potential customers. And one of the things that my business coach has had me do is, all right, identify some of the national conferences where your ideal customer goes. Where are those? And then when does that call for proposal happen? And then, of course, you want to take those potential customers and you want to attract followers. So some of you may have heard me say one of the biggest mistakes that I have made as a business person was not developing the email list. I had lots of contacts. I have lots of contacts in my Outlook. I have lots of LinkedIn followers, but really creating an active and engaged email list turns out was one of my biggest mistakes. So we can talk about that a little bit later, because you want to attract those customers and then you want to turn them into people who follow you on all the places, your LinkedIn, your email list, all those kinds of things. Because the idea is you want to get new clients. So one of you had mentioned that you landed this potential 5-year project. That's awesome. And that's what I try to do. I try to have smaller projects as well as larger projects, but I'm really looking for some that maybe last 6 months to a year, some last a couple of years, ideally some that last 5 years, and have different clients with those different timeframes. And that's very helpful. But the whole idea is you want to get new clients. And this is what marketing people call your marketing funnel. Now, I don't really like that. And because, most of us, I'm sure you're in the same boat. We never intended to be a business person. We just wanted to serve people. We just wanted to, do good in the world. But the reality is we are business people and we do have our own business. And to do that, we need to attract followers. We can't just keep talking to the same old people. We also need to attract new followers. And speaking is a way to do that. The marketing folks call this the know, like, and trust factor. So people have to know you first. They've got to like you. And through your content and engagement and your engagement with them, they hopefully trust you and then become a client. So let's talk specific speaking strategies. So conferences, we talked about virtual meetings and summits. I think we're all getting pretty good about that. Local and state conferences. I'm speaking in Savannah at the end of the month at the Georgia School for Addiction. It's a meeting that my clients have gone to for a long time. My local Georgia clients anyway have gone to for a long time. I've never gone. They've been asking me to present, and I finally said yes. And then, of course, podcasts. Of course, I have my own community possibilities. I hope you guys will check that out. But also, guest speaking on podcasts is another stage. So we tend to think of formal conferences as a stage, but there's lots of places that can be a stage, and Heather talks about that a lot. So before you talk, what do you need to think about? I said meditate/pray, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to get you in that space where you are ready to speak to people, whether that be breath work or yoga or formal or informal prayer, a walk, whatever it is that gets you conscious of the moment. I would start there, especially if you're new to speaking. Maybe you you have some nerves, that kind of thing. That's really very helpful. All right, then you want to strike a pose. I used to tell this to a couple of people that I had formal mentor relationships with. There's actually a TED Talk, and I apologize, I don't know who it is, but they talk about the Superman pose. So you either stand like this, or you put your hands on your hips and look really proud, and you're supposed to hold that pose for 2 minutes. And people, I actually do this. I go to that bathroom stall or in my hotel room, and it really works. There's something about like that brain body connection that really gets, the confidence going. And then get moving. So Heather talks a lot about, whatever you need to do, march in place, do some sun salutations, swing your arms around, whatever it takes to get, energy in the body or energy out, especially if the energy is being bottled up and you find, you've got that dry mouth and your hands are shaking and whatever it is, try to get that energy moving. And then I would say, if it's something you've been doing for a while, some of us, we can kind of take it for granted. We can go on autopilot. That's not good either. So you need to have, control of your energy. And then speak your mantra. I love this. This is what Heather taught us in that Speak Up to Level Up class. And let's see if I can tell you mine. So, and a speaking mantra is something you would say a couple of times before you speak. So mine is, let's see, grab their attention, make them laugh, teach them something new, inspire them to change the world. So that's my speaking mantra. I just put it out there in the world. You're welcome to borrow it until you get your own. But say that to yourself a few times before you start speaking. And then greet your audience. I know at the panel this week, I was kind of behind the moderator was behind the table and I was sitting down. That's not my normal mode. Normally I'm kind of up, milling around, talking to people, saying hello as they walk in, just being that friendly presence. It helps me as an introvert make friends with my audience so they don't feel like strangers anymore. So that's before your talk. And then practice out loud. I picked the goofiest picture of me that we did not pick for the website because I think it's really important not to take yourself too seriously, but you really need to practice out loud. I heard Stephanie Evergreen say that years ago, and it's very true. If you're just flipping through your notes, say you're sitting in your hotel room at AEA New Orleans this fall, and you're just kind of flipping through your notes and you're scanning, that is not going to help you. You actually need to speak the words and hear the words come out in your brain. Otherwise, there's a disconnect that happens when you start talking, and it I don't know, at least for me, and I kind of scare myself a little bit. Okay. And then during your talk to that one person. This is Rochelle. She was my RA, and she was kind enough to help me with my website videos. And I love this picture of her. She's so beautiful. All right. And so this is a mistake that I made in my talk that I did the other day. I know this. I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, and yet I forgot. And I even had a clue. The universe gave me a clue. The day before my talk, unfortunately, the meeting was a day and a half, and my talk was Wednesday morning. Darn it. That really would have helped me make more connections if my talk had been on Tuesday. But I had been in a session, and it was a data session, and it was very data-y, if you know what I mean. And there were program people there. And this one person at the end of the talk raised his hand and said, I don't want to be rude, but I just want to know how to evaluate my program. The person I most love to help was sitting right in front of me. Well, guess what? He came to my talk, but I got so wrapped up in my, golly, I'm kind of a little nervous. I haven't done this in a while, that I was conscious of me and not him, right? So the more you can project that you were taught, and of course you're not staring at that one person the whole time. That's not what I'm talking about, but you want to have that ideal customer, that person that ideal client, that person you most want to work with in mind, as if you were speaking directly to him. And again, the universe gave me a clue. He was right in my session. I'd heard him ask, and I think I would have been even more effective, because the talk went well. I should tell you that the talk did go well. I had several people come up afterwards and want to connect. Maybe that'll happen somewhere down the road. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But I think I would have been more effective if I had really thought about him. So during your talk, make them laugh. If you can, when you're doing your introduction, or maybe before your introduction, tell some about something funny that happened to you. I could have said, "Oh, I almost lost my computer on the minivan, the shuttle over to the airport," because that actually happened. But again, forgot to do that, but I did. I got a couple chuckles out of them. Tell your signature story. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I practiced my talk, and guess what? I forgot to tell my signature story, even though I practiced it several times. So when you're practicing out loud, if you don't do anything else, make sure you nail your intro. Enough said. I should have spent more time getting that right than the couple of slides that I was a little nervous about. Again, trying to teach you from what I did wrong. Use metaphors and stories as best you can to illustrate your points. My pet peeve is evaluators who speak evaluation or statistics. If you're like me, and I think most of you are, and you want to be in the community and you want to work with nonprofits or community change leaders, Lord have mercy, do not talk about P levels and significance and chi-squares and crosstabs and all of those things. Please don't do that. That's what they're hiring you for. So you're gonna lose them. And the more you can tell metaphors and stories, the more exciting and interested. You're not going to see them on their phone. They're going to be really engaged in the conversation. Give them bite-sized pieces. Pick a few points and don't talk about anything else. I had 20 minutes to convince them that using evaluation was great for the work they were doing in their communities. And so that's what I did. So tell them what you want to tell them. You know the old adage, right? Tell them again, and then tell them again. So give them bite-sized pieces that they can really chew on, and then they'll come back for more. They're gonna feel like they got one or two things that they really could learn. And then use pictures as much as you can. Make your presentation visualization rather as interesting as it can be. So after your talk, do the postmortem. We got to practice what we preach. We got to do that continuous quality improvement. That's part of what I'm doing with this talk that I'm talking to you. So do a do well, do better process. Do not beat yourself up. Resist that urge. So I can say, wow, I think my talk went really well. I had good energy. People were interested. They weren't on their phones. I had a few people that came up to me after the talk. What could I do better? I definitely forgot my signature story. Oops. Yeah, so there were a couple of other, things like that. I was one trick I will tell you, I put a QR code to my resource page but I put it on the last page, like how they could contact me. I did a handout for them, I should say. And if I had to do it over again, I would probably put it in two places: at the back where my contact stuff was, but maybe also on the front page. So just some ideas about, some different things I might be able to do better. Follow up with connections. That's exactly what I was doing before I came on this call. I was looking folks up on LinkedIn and sending emails to a few people that I did meet. Get social. I took pictures of a colleague. I knew one person at this meeting, and I made sure I took pictures of her and sent them. It's just a nice thing to do. But you know what I forgot to do? Because she's the one person I knew, I should have asked her, hey, when you come to my session, would you please take pictures of me presenting? And then I could have used it on social media. So I didn't do that job so well. I think I know I was just a little bit nervous because she was the only person I knew at this whole meeting. And then, assess your results and how you have to define what success is. Is it the number of cards that you got? Is it the number of people who contacted you on LinkedIn? Or if you have an email list, added to your email list? Only you can decide, what you think a success is. All right. So my 5.5 tips, and I need to change that. So find places where your ICA hangs out. Where's your ideal client hanging out? Find those conferences, find those meetings. It could be nationally, it could be state, it could be local, wherever you are. Make sure you create great visual talks. Some of you may know of Echo Rivera. She's also a community psychologist. She does great trainings on visualization. Of course, Anna Marie has a course I think she rolled out last year on evaluation reporting. So be on the lookout if she opens that class again. And she also talks about presentations. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure you nail down that first slide. Don't do what I did. And we can talk about signature story if you want, but it's basically how you came to be who you are and why you do what you do. And you can shrink that. I had a 20-minute talk, right? I couldn't spend 10 minutes talking about myself. Nobody wants to hear that anyway. But if you have more time, you can kind of accordion that, if you would. And then make connections. I'm always very honest. I'm a big fat introvert. I practice what I preach. When I sat down, I introduced myself to the person on the right or the left. I followed up with the person who had asked that question. I made sure I gave him my card, all those kinds of things. CQI, that's that do well, do better process. Resist the urge to beat yourself up. You will get better the more you talk. And then rinse and repeat. Do all of this stuff all over. So that is what I have for you today. I hope that was helpful listening to me as I kind of get out there in the world and start talking again to in-person stages. So I'm going to stop recording and then we can talk about it.